On The View today. How you doing?
All right. How you doing, Sean? Congratulations on the election, the results.
Thank you.
You called it. You said it was going to happen.
Stephen A. Smith, election reaction. Let's see what he's got to say.
A lot on politics. It's ESPN host. He's a rock star. There is no, as far as I'm concerned, there is no ESPN sensible without my friend Stephen A. Smith. I watched you on The View today. How you doing?
All right. How you doing, Sean? Congratulations on the election, the results.
Thank you.
You called it. You said it was going to happen. I can't refute it. I can't refuse the fact that the president of the United States, the president-elect, is well deserving of it. It was a romp. It was an annihilation. I know a lot of people are trying to, label it like, you know what, he won a little bit in a lot of different places.
One thing about Stephen A. Smith, no matter what you believe about him, he's pretty consistent on what he believes. He doesn't change back and forth a lot. I mean, he does some. Everybody does a little bit, but he's pretty consistent. And he's pretty fair. I know him and Sean Hannity are good friends. Him and Mark Levin are good friends. He doesn't demonize the right like some people do.
I don't want to hear that. He won, and he won in absolutely convincing fashion, so much so that I think that in light of those results, we have to look at this election as a referendum on the Democratic Party in America saying, we're not feeling where you are. We're not feeling where you tried to go. We want no part of it. We're not having it. And they made their choice, and we all have to accept it. I would ask that you don't look at the show. What you should look at is the ideological tilt that has taken place in our country. We've gotten to a point where, God forbid, somebody has a difference of opinion and a different form of ideology, then you're damn near the Antichrist. And that's not what makes this country great. I mean, the reality is that, you know what, we could sit up there and we could say what we want, and everybody has their different opinions about Donald Trump. You know how I felt. You knew why I didn't vote for him. I don't like the way he behaves. I think the presidency is a statesmanship position, and I think that level of hubris that he's accustomed to showing needs to be dialed back significantly. But having said that, the bottom line is simple. You can look at a lot of things on the right or the left. He talked about the economy. OK, Biden inherited, what was it, like 1.5%.
And we can see right now with this shutdown, the Democrats have no sympathy for the common man. They say that we, the common man, are just leverage. Leave in the comment if you think you're leverage. That's ridiculous. So the Democrats are out of touch, and I think Stephen A. is going to touch on some of the prices and stuff like that. The Democrats told you during the election that you're not experiencing high prices. Like you can't see it when you go to the grocery store.
In terms of inflation, it ballooned to over 9.1% before it got dialed down a little bit. We looked at open borders. Barack Obama was once considered the deporter in chief because he actually
If you over Joe Biden's term, your check went down 30%. It's facts. Inflation cost you 30% over 4 years. You'll never get that money back. If you make $100,000, it became $70,000. That's facts.
More folks than Donald Trump. But Biden comes into office, and the first thing he does, day one, executive order, he opens the borders. Exactly. And obviously that created so much tension. And then you look at the culture wars, the identity politics, some of the transgender issues that people were bringing up in terms of individuals transitioning from male to female and wanting to participate in female sports and stuff like that, or sharing the same bathroom as females and all of this other stuff. America said, hey, we're not down for that. We're not going for it. And no matter what you try to throw in our direction, that's not what we're concerned about. We're primarily concerned about the economy. We're primarily concerned about our borders and about being safe. And they voted that way to send that message. And all we've heard over the last couple of days is folks going absolutely bat crazy because the candidate that they preferred to win didn't win. And I just want to take a moment to remind everybody, this is America. Guess what? Sometimes you don't get what you want. But we are known for having intestinal resolve and making sure we're able to march forward and work with whichever candidate ends up being in office and winning, and find a way to work with one another and reach some degree of compromise so we have civility in this country instead of chaos. It's going to be up to Donald Trump to contribute to that, no doubt. But the way I've seen some of the Democrats reacting since Kamala Harris lost, to be quite honest with you, is utterly ridiculous. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, just the shutdown is an example. You don't have the votes. You got to keep it moving. But you're going to shut the government down. don't pay the military, don't pay the public workers, don't pay SNAP, don't pay air traffic controllers, you're just going to keep losing.
I'm going to get into any names, but it's been utterly ridiculous.
Tell lies and call people Nazis and fascists. Not a good strategy, Stephen A. Not nice either.
Well, I'm not going to deny that it's not the greatest strategy. I don't know if you're entirely, completely accurate in everything that you're saying, because I can think of lies that the other side as well. But I will say this to you. If you're Kamala Harris, what you could have done is lean on the reports that the economy was actually getting better, and it actually is in a good place compared to where it was. You could have.
Yeah, but you can't do that when the people don't feel that. Like if I go to the grocery store, and I had somebody do this, they sent me a picture. Before Biden, they had this in their grocery cart, and they just went out there to say, what would it be after Biden? And their grocery cart had doubled in 4 years. So before Biden, when Trump left office, the groceries were $100. For the same groceries, 4 years later, those groceries were $200. So there's nothing you can say to those people when they just pay double in groceries and they see it on their phone. They're not voting for Harris. They're not voting for this garbage. You can't tell them that. They already know.
Knowledge that guess
Not
what?
true.
I was a bit wrong in a position. I was a bit wrong in the position that I took on the border. And obviously, it's not about flip-flopping. It's about me correcting the error of my ways. She didn't do that. But in the end, I will tell you, I'll do you a favor and tell you where the biggest crime came about from the Democratic Party. You had a situation with Biden, who promised to be a transitional president. He labeled himself a stopgap, somebody that was going to come in there, sort of calm the waters, and then move out the way for a young blood to come into the fray, and new blood rather to come into the fray and be the next president of the United States. There was supposed to be a red wave in the midterms. It didn't happen. What does he do? He's the incumbent. He gets comfortable and says, I'm not going anywhere. And that threw everything up in flux. So suddenly he's debilitated a bit. The cognitive decline is something that we were witnessing. People were noticing it but didn't want to speak about it. You let him go on stage and get embarrassed. June 27th, 3.5 weeks later, you elevate her. She never went through a primary or anything like that, which raised question marks. And then what do you do from there on, Sean? You obviously they felt they needed to do whatever they could to get votes. This is what they were doing, and it didn't work. It didn't work, and that's what you have to applaud. The American people have spoken. They said, we're not going for that. We're looking at policies. We're not going for all of that.
One last, legacy media is dead. Do you agree or disagree?
I'm not going to say it's dead because I'm holding out hope that it can be resuscitated. But hold on to this moment, Sean, because it's a rarity. Hold on to this for the rest of your life, okay? I am going to agree with you from the standpoint that what was done was inexcusable because it was favoritism in the media, and it had no place in it for a presidential election. You got to call balls and strikes, and that's not what people on both sides are doing, but especially the left over the last couple of days. They ain't calling balls and strikes, and they're wrong. You're right, and it's your day. Enjoy it. It's a rare moment, but you got it.